Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. How are you today? Tudo bem? Como estás? Lovely to see you in the chat there. Coach Turner and James this morning. Do say hi, especially if you've not said hello before to us. We're a very gentle bunch and very happy to receive new friends in the Gumper community, especially on screen on the Good Morning Portugal show every weekday morning here in Portugal from 8:30 until 10, with many more people watching on catch-up. So it's a very special good morning to you too if you're watching this later on in the day, if you're having a vicarious Portuguese life via the show, if you're still somewhere else in the world and gathering together all the information, intel and insight that you need for making your journey to Portugal. If we can help you in any way, do let us know, please. And if you're listening on the podcast too, I think we've welcomed quite a few new listeners over on the Amazon podcast platform as well. Is that the same as Audible? I'm not sure, but hello to you if you're new to this podcast. And apologies to you as well, because we showed quite a few visuals. One we were particularly enamored with yesterday. Oh, I think Mrs. Emma snuck in and deleted that. My outfit for the netball game this coming Thursday with Colin, Rugby Colin. And he'll be joining us before we go to play netball. He'll be joining us with a motoring guide. It is, of course, the Go Motoring Portugal show once a month with Colin. And we'll be talking about what you need to have in your vehicle for the purposes of safety and security and to keep the police happy as well. Should you ever be stopped by the roadside, as happens here in Portugal. And I think actually that's happening at the moment in the build-up to Easter. The police are often, the GNR and the police forces of Portugal, not the PJ, but the Policia, PSP, I believe they're called, and the GNR are on the roads, stopping people, checking their documents, making sure they haven't been drinking too much, making sure they haven't been eating too much. Only kidding on that last one. You can eat what you want anytime here in Portugal. And the police aren't going to say a word. I don't suppose. Unless, of course, it does impair your driving capability. Hugh, good morning to you. Lovely to see you here. Hugh of Forestier Walker. Good morning to you. Really cold up at Tondela last night. Yeah, there you go. Mid-north, would you call Tondela? 2.9 degrees centigrade. I tell you what, Hugh, when I got up this morning, I was thinking, it's like a yippee blue sky day. I did hit the snooze button, however. And it went dark, and then it started to rain. It's really very changeable weather here on the Silver Coast as well. And thank you, Phil and Maria, for sending pictures as well this morning of your local weather. 1 minute hailing over there, and then a rainbow. I had a cosmic thought about rainbows yesterday when I saw a beautiful rainbow in Caldas de Rainha. Trying to drop some bicycles off for servicing. Nobody wants them. I went to 2 bike stores and just looked at a third and saw how small the shop was and thought to myself, they're not going to want them either. They can't do them. There's too many people wanting their bikes serviced, and they can't store them in the meantime. Anyway, I captured a beautiful... My reward for going to Caldas with the bicycles yesterday was to see a beautiful rainbow. That's hail, though. Those are hailstones, not snow. Snow has been forecast, of course, in parts of Portugal by IPMA at the moment. But there's some hail for you. From not far from in between Caldas and Óbidos there, and later from the same home, a beautiful rainbow over the vineyard there. Isn't that lovely? And my cosmic question about rainbows is, are they real? Are rainbows real? a little, do you want to pause so you can reflect on that quietly for a moment in a meditative state? Hugh is who we are. Oh, morning, Hugh. Is that Hugh? Fantastic. Hugh is who we are staying with in Tondela. Morning, Hugh, from Colin. So, Hugh, I'm looking forward to meeting you and finding more about your. In fact, why don't you put or send me the link or ask Colin. Look, Colin, can you send me the link to Hugh's place and we'll put a link up on the screen so that other people can find out about your fabulous accommodation up there in Tondela, where some people are asking, Tondela, yes, a beautiful part and underestimated part of Portugal. Well, you know, I love Central Portugal. And the interior, I think Tondela applies applies to Tondela. Let me get these words out for you right this morning. Is like, see, I was thrown by this. Is light real? If so, then yeah, real in the sense that if I were to ask you to bring me a rainbow, could you do that? If I ask you to bring me a cup of tea, that's kind of real. That's in my hand. I can feel the warmth and wetness of tea with any luck. But a rainbow, there it was in the sky. Is it real? It's phenomenal, isn't it? It's not real. It's phenomenal. It's an effect. And yet it's a thing to us. So my question then thereafter is, if that's a phenomenal thing that we take, that we name and know and delight in seeing, what other things are not quite as real as a cup of tea and phenomenal like a rainbow, and yet we dismiss out of hand as not being real in this Easter week? And a very special video, and talking of preparing for Easter here in Portugal, very special video and let me give you the origin story. This is the phrase people use, isn't it? The origin story, the backstory. The wonderful Tia Filomena sent me a message. Hi, Carl. This week is Holy Week, Easter week. And when I was on the island of San Miguel last week, I have filmed a pilgrim who owns a restaurant in Ponta Delgada to explain a very traditional pilgrimage that they have on the island. Although I've asked him to tell us the summary of the tradition, he actually spoke for almost 4 minutes in Portuguese. Now, this time next year, Rodney, we'll be able to understand that, won't we? Won't we? I'm making a special effort to learn and share other techniques for learning Portuguese from here on in. From this week, we'll remember this week, Easter week, as the one where we really dug in and learned more Portuguese. We stopped making excuses and we got on with it. And certainly I'm applying that medicine to myself as well. But more of that as the days and weeks unfold from Easter. But anyway, back to Tia Filomena and the gentleman she met. This chap spoke, as Filomena says there, for 4 minutes in Portuguese. And she asked me, would you like me to try and make a summary of what he said? And I'll send you the video. Absolutely, yes, please. I'm going to play a little bit of the video. We're not going to watch 4 minutes of Portuguese because I think that might just be a little bit too much at 8:39 on a weekday morning. But like I say, some of you by this time next year will be able to understand a lot of it. And even in a few weeks from now, we'll be able to understand more than you do now. This is part of what he said. I hope you can hear this.
Shall I speak in Portuguese? My name is Roberto, and this is a tradition in São Miguel. And lately it has been spreading to other islands. It's a pilgrimage, Romaria, done at Easter, at Lent. I'm a young pilgrim, Romeiro. I've been doing it for 5 years. I'm going to speak about what I feel and what I do. My aim is to ask for God's forgiveness. To do this pilgrimage is easy, to walk for 7 days on the road. The hardest thing is our life's pilgrimage.
Wow, life's pilgrimage, the hard thing. Isn't that amazing? So I will put that together with the video. Here he is, so you can see the gentleman in question, Roberto Botelho, I believe is his name. And I will put the two together with the translation so that you can hear it. Maybe I'll do both. I'll do both so that you can use it as an aid to learning Portuguese. Here he is.
So for Good Morning Portugal show, we are now on the island of São Miguel in the Azores, and we have a very special tradition here that is going to be explained.
So there you go. That's the point at which he says, shall I speak Portuguese? And he does for 4 minutes to talk about, the translation, the brief translation that you heard from Filomena there is what he said. And I will make a special video of that in this Easter week here in Portugal. Which I think is very interesting. Was it Rua Maria, the road of Mary? I guess literally translated there. And he, from Ponta Delgada in the Açores, and making his way and being a pilgrim in San Miguel, along with others, such as these folk here.
Rogai por nós, pecadores, agora e na hora da nossa morte. Amém. Ave Maria!
Well, there you go. It's all about Maria, Mary, in this Holy Week, Easter week. And yes, I will make that video available on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for thinking of us, Philomena, and one of the wonderful customs. Sounds like it's established but growing custom over there in San Miguel. Maybe it's these challenging times that are causing people to turn more inward and upwards, if I may put it like that. Who else has joined us in the last little while? Lee McGrady. Good morning, people. See you tomorrow at the meetup. Looking forward to seeing you, Lee. Don't forget to wear your dinner jacket, or maybe to at least wash and press your overalls. So we'll see you tomorrow, mate. And good morning, people. I think that might be Lee as well. See you tomorrow there. But I don't mind seeing you twice, Lee. It's a great question. What is real? What is reality? So mindful. Muito bem. Thank you very much. It's got to be done. Muito bem, Carlito.
Muito bem.
Easy. Obrigado. Bom dia. From Pam as well. You see, is love real? Oh my word, is love real? Could you bring me some? We can act in love, can't we? We can show love, and that can be felt. Is that real? Oh my goodness, it's a philosophical mind bender this morning here on the Good Morning Portugal show. And Bom Dia Gumpers then at 7:47. Feliz terça a todos, como vai? And a mindful moment from James then. Far better, it seems to me, in our vulnerability is to look death in the eye and to be grateful every day. Pretty cosmic this morning, aren't we? Look death in the eye and be grateful, and to be grateful every day for the brief but magnificent opportunity that life provides. Hooah! And that was Carl Sagan in The Valley of the Shadow. Parade? That sounds like a gentleman's magazine from the 1970s. In fact, Parade, 10th of March, 1996. Is that Life's Parade, I guess? One more time then. Far better, it seems to me. And you can hear Al Pacino doing this in Scent of a Woman. Far better, it seems to me, in our vulnerability, is to look death in the eye and be grateful every day for the brief but magnificent opportunity that life provides. Hooah! And a mindful dad joke, in case that was all too much. Mindful dad joke, in 3,026 years from now, life will either be really good or really bad. The year is 2525. Oh, no, we're nearly there. 50-50. Oh, I see. Ha! Very good. It's not that. Wrong jingle. Although it's 50-50 on the phone. They want to know how we're doing. Thank you. In 3,026 years from now, it's all about the timing and delivery. Life will either be really good or really bad. It's 50-50. And that joke changes every year. Isn't that wonderful? Thank you, James. Very good. This morning, it's 50-50 indeed. And your visual memery this morning, building on my image that I posted as our opening meme, how to get up and get dressed. That was me about half an hour ago. This should do the trick. And I really like Twitter. X can be a horrific place, and it's made better by certain people. I love the art and humor that I see on X, and I'm curating my collection of echo chambers more carefully with that regard. But there you go. If you need it this morning, a big cup of coffee. And I do love the postings of Irena Buzarevich, I think that's correct. Good morning, she says, with a great big cup of coffee right there for you, should you need it this morning. Great to see you here, Hugh. Thank you, Colin, for connecting us with Hugh this morning. And let's go to the coach and see what the coach has for us this morning. Morning to you, Ian. Bon dia, Gumpers. Lots of family time yesterday, which was lovely. Kids are life-affirming, mostly, yeah. Coffee, training, and coaching today, plus experimenting with a GoPro. Yes! is that for the Portugal trip. And we're going to be meeting up with Coach Turner, Ian, while he's over here, me and Colin. God's good tip of the day then. I've always been keen for children to try a wide variety of activities, particularly sports, in the hope that one will capture their imagination and give them an interest for life. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Certainly in sports, but across the board, that, introducing your kids, kids generally, your own kids, other kids, to things that they can make a lifelong interest. Absolutely wonderful. I'm trying to think. What could you let me know? What were you introduced to as a child? I'm not talking about cider or cigarettes. What were you introduced to? Because that's the other kids who tend to introduce you to those sort of things, or a really bad uncle. What were you introduced to as a child that stayed with you? I'm thinking, was it DIY? I had to teach myself that. I was inspired by a great gentleman who I worked with who built his own house, but I was a little bit older by that point, in my early 20s. He'd built I think he'd built an extension to his house. And I worked full time with him, and he did this in his spare time. And I thought, my goodness, my father and stepfather, not too good with the hand tools and power tools, but I can give it a go. And he inspired me. So that stayed with me in my life. I'm trying to think what else. What were you taught and introduced to as a child that you still do to this day and would like to teach others? I've been fortunate to have found a few things that I really enjoy. Here we go. Rugby, sailing, kayaking. Didn't know about you and kayaking, Coach T. Athletics, and more recently he's into the paddleball, that is. It occurs to me, though, that others may not have been so fortunate. I think you're right. So why not try something new this week? You never know. It might inspire you. And why not try introducing someone else to something new as well? Michael Barton here. Bon dia, Gumpers. And not only that, but bon dia, Portugal as well. Come on, let's do this, Michael.
Bon dia, Portugal!
Almighty bellow in the almighty bellow of the Barton there. Thank you very much for that, Michael. We still need more coming in on 913-590-303. If you can't touch it, see it, hear it, smell it even, is it real? Is it real? And things we do think of things as real, even though we can't do any of those things. Is love real? I'm still asking that question. Maybe tangible is the better word. Is love tangible? It's phenomenal, sensational. These are interesting words. It's a great question. What is real? Thank you very much. And Jim White. Whenever we get all spiritual, ethereal, and transcendental, often Jim White hears the call and joins us. Good morning to you, Jim, in Porto. Time to get those glasses on, Carl. What have I done now? I was well, my glasses are here somewhere, I think. That's the thing about glasses, isn't it? And perhaps I should get some proper ones and not the ones from Flying Tiger that were €5 that work on one eye quite well and not so much the other one, but good enough to read small print. Is that long-sightedness when I can't see things close up as well as I used to? My arms aren't long enough. I was introduced to unreal things like rainbows and magnets and clouds. I guess that's physics, not reality. Oh, as a kid, how lovely. And one of the things that I notice here is the wide range of sports facilities available for kids. It's true, isn't it? In Alcobaça, for example, there's a lovely tennis club over that way, isn't there? And here, it seems the global tradition of sport on a Wednesday is alive and well in the bay here in San Martino. The kids are so lucky they've got the bay, and they go out kayaking and whatever the technical term is for the vessels they use in the bay here. My glasses are here somewhere. I can't see them. Yes. And Ian, my eldest, sent me some pictures of Aldenham Reservoir this week, where my dad had taught him to sail. Isn't that lovely, Granddad? Teaching grandson how to sail. Sadly, the sailing club is closed, but he took his daughter to show. What a lovely memory that is. Thanks, Coach T, for that. Not told you who's coming up. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you this morning when things really get started at 9 o'clock. And Marion Geray joins us from China, no less. Here's Marion. A picture of Marion in China. I hope I've loaded these up. Got a lot of pictures, actually. Is that Marion doing some... It is! There's Marion in China. Doing some Qigong, I believe. She'll tell us more about that. And there she is receiving her certificate, I think, on a recent trip. She's still there, I believe, in China. She's in Shanghai, and she'll be talking to us from Shanghai this morning. Isn't that wonderful? Introduce your kids to Qigong or Tai Chi, maybe. What's that? And here are some more pictures of your pilgrims. After 9, of course, we've got Sarah Davie joining us around 9:20 and at around 9:40. Effa from Alvaiazere, it's called technically correctly, Alvaiazere. More pilgrims, not looking entirely happy there. I wonder what's happening there. Oh, that's the restaurant, O Museo, where Roberto, who we saw earlier on, is normally working. He's the owner there, and he was off on a pilgrimage, and he was telling us about that. And I will make a video so he can tell you more about that as well. Superb. Thank you very much. But what was I looking for? I think I was looking for James's memes this morning to make sure I don't forget those. Here's one. The car you're interested in. I think we might have done this one before, but can't find our glasses and we can't remember whether we've done certain memes. Okay, never mind. We'll run with it, or in this case, drive with it. The car you're interested in can sit 6 people. Flipping it, Carl. The car you're interested in. I'll start that again. The car you're interested in can sit 6 people without any problems. Wow, well done. I don't think I know 6 people without any problems. Very good. And the other, so that I don't forget here this morning, is this one, I believe, from you, James. If you're still looking for that one person to change your life, take a look in the mirror. I'm still looking for a man in a chamon. There we go. Take a look in the mirror there. There's the culprit. There's the answer to your Scooby-Doo mystery right there. Thank you very much, James, for those. And thanks for all the wonderful pictures that have come in over the last couple of days. A couple more that I didn't manage to show yesterday. Who was it who sent me this one? This beautiful Saharan sky of yesterday. And I think this was Michael, who'd been in Tamar with American friends. I mean, take friends to Tamar. They're going to be impressed, and I suspect your friends were. The lovely yellow light of the bell tower against the blue inky sky there. Wonderful. And a really marvelous, this is another meme that I found on the internet last night. The most photographed places in the world. We move seamlessly from photographs sent in on 913-590-303 to some of the most photographed places in the world. I don't know how scientific accurate this is, but isn't Europe beautiful and photogenic? And there you see it, most photographed there. England does pretty well, as does Central Europe. And our Iberian coast here, our Atlantic coast, is doing pretty well, glowing in yellow as well. And I'm assuming that it is the most yellow and orangey bits that are the most photographed. Yeah, got to be, isn't it? Because the North and South poles are not very photographed. And that's because there are special underground bases and pyramids and things up there that you're not allowed to see, allegedly. What do you make of that then? Okay, so we've got Marion Geray joining us at 9, live from China. We've got Sarah Davie. It is Chill Out Tuesday, and we'll learn how to move currency calmly with Sarah, and Aoife will be joining us as well from around 9:40. What I want to ask Aoife about today, she joined the Bomberos. That's an unusual thing to do as a foreigner, isn't it? As an expat. She did that, and she worked with them. And let's find out how one goes about doing that and what some of her experiences were working as a paramedic in the Bomberos. And other news she has for us, especially useful. And we had a conversation yesterday, didn't we, about holism and all things holistic. She works in that kind of area. She's a therapist, a physical therapist mainly. So she'll have info for it. She had that wonderful when there's no doctor around course, which is rural first aid, some serious first aid she was talking about last time she was with us. So information for homesteaders and healers from Aoife as well on this Chill Out Tuesday this morning. Keep those comments coming in. Antonio Barbosa! Oh, got to read something out from Antonio Barbosa. This is a lovely meme that came in to the Wine Ninjas group. Those are those people who love wine here in Portugal, especially Portuguese wine. And I need just to make sure I've got the pronunciation. The pronunciation and the translation right on this. Thank you very much for this, Antonio. Great to see this morning. A Portuguese saying. We'll add this, of course, as well to our collection at the Portugal Club. Here it is on the screen for you now. In Portugal, we don't say it's going to be easy. We say, não vai ser perados. Não vai ser perados. So it's not going to be a sweet pear, is that? It's not going to be easy peasy. I guess sweet pear is easy peasy in Portuguese. Thank you very much from Antonio Barbosa. Bon dia, friends. He says, greetings from the Minho. He is the man in the Minho. Chamou! Tony time. Feliz terça-feira from Antonio up there in the Minho. Thank you very much for that. Have I got that right, Antonio? Let's have a look at the front page of Good Morning Portugal, the homepage of Good Morning Portugal. And it's the time of the week where I round up the news stories there and put them into the news archive. I think I told you about these yesterday, didn't I? Cherry blossom time in Portugal. Let's bring it onto the screen for you. This is www.goodmorningportugal.com. The big falar moment. Fa la 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 la. Now, that's Easter, not Christmas. And it is the big falar. And the article there I've entitled Falar the Leader. That's the big 250 kilogram falar in Guia down there in the south of Portugal, which will be eaten. Let's have a closer look at cherry blossom time in Portugal. Then the natural spectacle of cherry trees in blossom. What a lovely time of year, combined with a series of events and promotions, is leading to tourists flocking to they're flocking, absolutely flocking, I tell you, to the area of Fundão in Castelo Branco. This is where the greatest cherries come from, and this is their blossom. According to the vice president of the council, it's always an interesting job there, isn't it, to be the president of vice in any Camera. Miguel Gavinhos, there is a very high demand for this region at this time of year, says Miguel, and the economic impact of the influx of tourists to the area represents 2 million euros up there in Castelo Branco. There's that fireball that no one's talking about. Apart from me, there was on Chill Out Tuesday, Mama Bear's Rebirthing a Revolution book, RAR for short, there. And I will add, oh yes, and our Portuguese t-shirt. Podemos falar Português. Can we speak Portuguese, please? Slowly, if you please, as well there. First rule of Portuguese Club, we only speak Portuguese. Second rule, wear the t-shirt or have a badge made up saying that. Like I said to you, we are going to raise our game, up the ante, on learning Portuguese, and I'm going to be introducing a series of mini courses, chunks, manageable chunks. You're not going to be terrorized by the prospect of 9 months twice a week in a classroom, although I'm not knocking it. You'll get an A2 if you do that, but I think there are easier ways of. There's a big gap. Is it the right time of year to be mentioning 40 days and 40 nights? But there is this gap, isn't there? This no man's land, no woman's land of like knowing how to say bom dia, tudo bem, and then the A2 stuff and the great emptiness, the barren wilderness and the tumbleweed rolling across it between here and there. And I'm thinking, how can we help people get across the desert, where some people just never even step foot into that desert through fear of being terrorized by some very bad teaching, in my view. I think, well, that may be a bit nasty and judgmental. Let me put it like this. Teaching styles that don't inspire, teaching styles that perhaps sometimes injure people's interest in the language. There's got to be, I know there are easier and better ways. In fact, we're talking to somebody tonight on Portugal Club at 8:30 about a different approach to learning Portuguese. Pete may disagree with me. He's gone through the A2 process. What did you think of the teaching style? Isn't it like proper old-fashioned didactic, repeat after me, and, bear the scars of learning style? Pete, bom dia alegria, you say. And a vida não é para dois, mas a vinho é. Life is not as easy. What's that? Life is not a sweet pear, but wine is perhaps there. Bairandi is in with Bom Dia Malta. See, I need to do my own Portuguese course. Should be a few more gumpers watching on this cold or in this cold and damp weather. I've got a few watching over on X. In fact, I'd love it if you are watching on X. We have a growing audience over at X, formerly Twitter. Previously, normally it's mainly people on YouTube, some on Facebook, but a growing number on X, it would appear. And to Antonio Barbosa, não vou dançar mais com nenhuma mulher grande. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, Pete, and I'm a little bit reluctant to read it out, especially as one of my guests is arriving as well. Marion is joining us. Bang on time, as you might expect from Marion at 9 o'clock. Just a couple of quick comments. Hola, bon dia. Hope all is well with everyone, says Aviva Ocean Dweller. Oh, I see. Yes, okay, I get the reference now. Joe Tex, great philosopher. So true. I'm struggling with getting to A2. Oh, thank you, Aviva, for that. And Frank, good morning to you, Frank. I enjoyed our correspondence recently. I've started the walk into the desert that analogy working for people, I think that metaphor to learning Portuguese pre-A1, it's deep sand. And our teacher was awesome. She brought in wine and put up with us reprobates, and we had drinks at the midget bar at halftime. Well, not everyone gets quite that vignette of opportunity there. That sounds a really special Central Portugal Fundão thing there. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. We can't keep her waiting. She's live from China, everybody. China, how are you, Marion?
Hello, bom dia, ni hao ma.
Ni hao ma, wie geht es Ihnen? Tudo bem? Como estás? Are you really in Shanghai this morning?
Yes. No, really.
My goodness. My goodness.
I can show you my.
The
Can you
view
see
of
something?
Shanghai. Oh my word! You are in the city of Shanghai. How big? How big is Shanghai? How big does it feel?
22 million.
What?
Citizens? Yeah.
Wow! Incredible!
But it's not the biggest city. The biggest city in China and also in the entire world is in Chongqing, 30 million.
30 million people in a city. How do they do it? It's an entirely different way of life, and it's an entirely different way of being, is it not? How is it? Tell us about it.
I like it. It has changed a lot since the last time I was here in 2018. And it has changed in a good thing, in a good sense. It is quiet. You know, we have the majority of cars are running electrically.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So the noise
is it like being in science fiction? Is it very different to what we're used to in Europe?
Yes, definitely. It is also no trucks are allowed during the day in Shanghai.
Right.
You know, because we still have construction here.
Oh,
and
okay.
They are entering after 10 p.m. until 6 a.m. And then they do the work.
Doesn't that keep people awake at night?
No, I sleep here the first time ever with an open window in the city center. You have seen it's all gray here. Gray
Yes.
and tall buildings. You know, I'm in the city.
And you can sleep with a window open?
Yeah. And that is the first time, you know. I could not do that before.
It's as if our mainstream media presents us with a very propagandized picture of life in other countries, isn't it? Because what you're describing is not our stereotype of Chinese life, is it?
It is. It's different, and also what I have realized, there are no more foreigners around.
Apart from you, so you must stand out quite significantly, if you don't mind me saying so.
There are a few, of course, but the 2 million have left during and after COVID.
Really? Wow. And are they not coming back?
No, there are 700,000. What are the embassies are counting and the chambers of commerce, and they are visiting. You know, business trips are picking up a little bit, and some workshops. The one I have attended, but you know, the Chinese classes at universities are empty. No foreigners is interested in China anymore.
What a massive cultural shift that is then in that case.
It's a very, very big shift. And the Chinese, I spoke to many Shanghainese and they said, we are proud of China. You know, the propaganda is working. And I'm allowed to say this now, I'm in a safe hotel, but it is, you know, they are very proud of the country.
Yeah.
They're very nationalistic.
Yes, isn't that incredible? And
although
there we are.
Although they are suffering as well, you know, their change was always, it wasn't a rising. You know, they all win. They all made money. They all have their apartments and the cars, etc. But now the growth rate is slowing down a bit. And that's new to them here in China.
Wow. How lovely to be talking to you and finding this out firsthand. Amazing.
Amazing. It's a big transition here, and they have to now learn with some, you know, downsides of life as well, the locals.
I guess, yes, of course, because with economic growth comes a slowdown from time to time, and is that what you would say is occurring as we speak? The growth, they've had the boom, and we're in the kind of not a crash exactly, but the slowdown, and they're feeling that
slowdown. You know, we come from growth rates 12, 14, 15. Right. You know, in the 90s, when all companies came and invested in China for manufacturing.
Yeah.
And this has slowed down a lot there. I was just talking to my former boss. He's a consultant here, a German consultancy. And they said, you know, now we are closing companies for the Germans.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They closed down and they shifted to Malaysia. They shift their manufacturing sites to Vietnam. India is picking up, you know. So there are some movements going around. And this means also the people, the Chinese, they are not stupid there, so they realize this. And so, you know, the golden times are over.
And the adaptation and change, transformation is required, because they've had the examples of other similar economies, haven't they? I mean, let's face it. If you look at the American and Western economies of capitalism and growth, and Russia,
Yes.
for example, and how
Exactly.
how Brazil, China, each of these countries seems to have adopted the neoliberal capitalism, and they're favouring. Or they are experiencing it differently, and they have each other to look at, don't they, as examples?
Exactly.
Yes.
But they still believe, you know, they are very, it's not a democracy here, yeah? We all know that. And they still trust their government, because usually in the past, the government helped them growing in terms of money. But this is now a typical capitalism. This is slowing down. So now the question is, I raise all Chinese here, what keeps you, you know, quiet and happy? You know, if the money goes a little bit, it's slowing down. Yeah, the safety. Do you? So one Chinese lady asked me, Marion, is there any safer place in the world outside China?
Is that right?
And then I said Portugal.
Good point. Well,
Portugal says, yeah, nice. It's nice, it's safe. You know?
But that's one of their boasts or claims. That it, and do you agree? I mean, do you experience it as being a very safe?
I feel very safe here. You know, I can do a very clean metro, a running metro. You know, everything is tidy. There are no homeless people. It's all tidied up. And I, as a woman, I can walk and go through the city during night. It's super safe. You know?
Very fascinating. How long have you been visiting China? Because you clearly have.
It's 1 week now. It's 1 week now. I wanted to fly back tomorrow, but the flight Swiss Air just canceled.
Right. Okay.
Because it's not full. You know, they say, oh, only half of the aircraft is full. Maybe we postpone by 1 day.
It's not run by Chinese, you see. There you go. Europeans. The Europeans are slacking, aren't they?
I have, it's the Lufthansa. You know, there are some airlines going to China, of course, but not on a daily basis.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is, you know, compared to 5 years ago, it is different. That's why I wanted to come and see and experience by myself, because I do not always want to rely on second, third parties' opinions, right?
Absolutely.
So now I'm here and I see it. And I mean, it's running, it's running and it's safe, and they are hardworking.
Yes,
I really have to say, if I look at not my children, but if I look at Europeans entirely, you know, when their attitude towards work is, they are much more dedicated here. You know, their will and their power of endurance is amazing, just amazing here.
And that's long hours and an application to the task in a way that we're not.
Yes. As long as they see the benefits, you know, everybody has to win, then everything is okay. But if they see the partner gets more or whatever, so it's quite the good vibes, you know, there are good vibes here as well.
That's really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. How long have you been visiting China?
Entirely 12 days.
No, I mean, what's your history though of your
12 years. I was living here for 12 years. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. Pete is asking what the food is like. That's a good question. I'd like to know what the
food is. You know, this is one big advantage here. I mean, in a city like Shanghai, you can say, "Oh, today I feel a little bit mezzanine, a bit Turkish, so I go Turkish. Then I go Japanese. Then I go Korean. Then I go Inner Mongolia. You know, then I go within China. You have 20 different areas of food. You know, and I love the southwest part, which is Sichuanese. You don't have that. You heard about it, yeah? It's spicy. Yeah. And they have a special pepper. It's only in this area. And the food is just, the choices are fantastic. And the quality is crazy, you know? I got my first white asparagus yesterday. Can you imagine? From Shandong province.
And was it tasty? When I look at a white asparagus in Europe, I think, and the French like a white asparagus, don't they? I'm thinking that looks like a really unhappy slug to me.
No, you know, it's the white asparagus. This white, not the green one. No, you know the white one.
Yeah, the white one looks kind of anemic to me, but I'm sure if you put some Szechuan sauce on that, it's good to go.
I had it this time. I really had it a German style with potatoes, and the sauce hollandaise, very nice.
Check you out. All of this in Shanghai. My goodness. Okay, and we need to talk to you, of course, about your what you're doing over there and what you're bringing back from China to Europe, of course.
Yeah.
Bon dia from Sarah. Bon dia from Antonio F. It's so wonderful having you here in Shanghai. They have gradually increased already harsh restrictions over non-Chinese businesses, says Pete as well. And Antonio, and don't forget their great electronic wall, censorship on the internet. Well, we're having a conversation with Marion. Absolutely no problem here this morning, or so far anyway. So what took you there to Shanghai, and what are you sharing with us this morning on this Chill Out Tuesday, Marion?
I have decided to do the masterclass in Qigong.
Right, okay.
The Qigong is, do you have the photo?
There
Maybe,
you are.
maybe
That
not.
is you doing some Qigong right there. And that is you with your master, your teacher there as well, right?
With my teacher. And he has, corrected me again, because
really?
it's a strict guideline. You have to fulfill the exercises. And only if you do it the really correct way, your body will benefit from it.
So what's happening? You're learning a particular routine and
Yes.
the theory behind it. Is that what's going on?
Yes, I know the theory already, but it was more about, when do you breathe in? When do you breathe out?
Yes.
So just a tiny little corrections, which I now can bring into my walks in the nature escapes in Portugal. So I bring now my master degree in Qigong back to Portugal for my walks, so
How
that my
wonderful.
guests and my clients can benefit to do it really for sure in the right way.
Yes, excellent. Okay, and there you are in action in the studio. So is it been intense? Are you going along every day? What's it called? It's not a dojo, is it? What is the Qigong studio called?
It's just a Qigong studio.
Okay,
Nothing
that is
special.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Amazing.
There used to be universities, and there used to be schools, but they're all closed down.
Why is that?
Yeah, no more people, no more foreigners asking for anything related to China.
And it was the foreigners keeping them going. I mean, I guess this is the price of modernity, isn't it? What us foreigners seem to love. It's like coming to Portugal, isn't it? It's like we love the old Portugal, the traditional Portugal.
Yeah.
And the young Portuguese are like, no, we don't want to live in the countryside. We want to live in this big city. Same thing, of course, in China, right? They don't want to talk to you about the Tao Te Ching and Qigong and Tai Chi. They want to move on.
Yeah, I mean, the government in China is only allowing four streams of the Qigong, and the other Qigongs are not allowed. And exactly what the Qigong was banned, but they have now allowed again, or released the ban over 4 schools, and this you can practice here. And the old people in the parks here in Shanghai, you still can see them practicing again, which is very nice. But the young people, of course, they say, why are you doing Qigong here? Can you make money out of it? I says, no, but I find,
you're living in
money,
That's right. You're living in a capitalist society where that's the bottom line. Well, literally the bottom line of everything. Well, let's get rid of that. You can't make any money out of that. but these things,
I can't make money out of with Qigong. And I said, you will wait. We will meet again. I always say we will meet again, and then we will see.
That's the beginning of a movie, isn't it? The German lady and the ancient Qigong teacher. And it's such a good storyline for a movie, isn't it? I
like that one.
It is like a kid for grown-ups, isn't it? But and a kind of role reversal where he has a crisis of confidence and history, and there you are from Western Europe saying, "Don't worry, I'll be back."
Okay, I will have to make a note here.
I think another famous German said that before, of course. So we have to write a different line for that. Should we show some pictures of the setting where you're going to be bringing back the Qigong and installing it? Because you want to talk about the spring, and I imagine within the principles of Qigong, Tai Chi, Chinese medicine, spring is really important. It's a real thing, isn't it? It's a real change. It affects us.
Spring is the transition phase.
Yes.
This is when we wake up, and the flowers and the trees. So everything is rebirth. It stands for transition. it stands for regeneration, and it stands for growth, renewal. So this is where we are going to have our nature and spring retreat. It's in Belmont.
Yes, beautiful. Okay.
And Belmont is one of the 12 schist villages protected in Portugal.
Oh, lovely. It's so beautiful.
And this is our hotel. This is my cooperation partner, the Vagar. And this is my lovely Jeep. And this behind, and this is another schist village, Sardeia, where we are walking to around 20 kilometers. This is the longest walk I'm having.
Wonderful.
And it is just wonderful, old castles, 15th century. And Belmont is also famous for, I'm not only doing the health hiking, but also I dip into the culture as well.
Yes, good.
Especially for Belmont, we had a Jewish, the crypto-Jewish community there.
Okay. All right. So rich in history then, Portuguese.
Very rich in history, yes. And but also Pedro Cabral. Do you know this guy? I mean, he has...
Tell us about Pedro Cabral.
Yes, so he discovered Brazil and he's born in Belmont.
Right. Okay. So he's the explorer credited with the Portuguese connection to Brazil. Then
Brazil, yes, in 1500. So he has discovered.
Not knowing. Yeah, I will be looking that up and finding out more. So thank you, because you were talking to us about Catarina de Bragança last time.
Yeah, I love her. Yeah.
Me
so now
too.
today,
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So this is always, I try to combine a little bit of culture, a little bit of health, and the green, because we have the color of the spring is green, right? So don't spend all the time now already by the beach. So us now in Portugal, try to go into the green in the forests in spring. This is very good. And also eat green vegetables, which are bitter, like couves do Bruxelas.
Asparagus.
And the asparagus, the green one, exactly.
Do you know what? Look, Hugh is picking 500 to 800 grams a day of asparagus. It takes a while for that plant to yield, doesn't it? I think it can take 2 or 3 years, but it sounds like Hugh's got the hang of it there. And also Pete saying, I hope you have some sandalwood to burn in your bathrooms as well as there is. There is that asparagus phenomenon, isn't there, that I think Pete is referring to. Sarah will be leaving for Qigong in Setúbal in just a few minutes there. Well done, Sarah. That's fantastic. And Pete saying, this always happens when Belmont is mentioned. I think he had a bad experience there with a particular beer. Don't eat or drink anything in Belmont. I'm sure you've sourced some fabulous places to eat for your retreats, Marion. Tell us about the food people will be eating.
We have, it depends on the when we go. So, but in spring we will have, of course, vegetables. Yeah, I mean, my tours are usually vegetarian and meat on request.
Right.
Yeah. So this is so, but you will always have a kind of nice. Oh, look at this! I have to read all this. Whether I spoke.
Sorry, I'm distracting you, but this is about Pedro Cabral, born in Belmont in 1467. Yes. Discovered officially, because it was always there, of course, wasn't it? But he's the one who came back to tell the Portuguese, I found this amazing place. 1500, and at the time was called Veracruz, interestingly, as well. Not Brazil, but Veracruz. So carry on, because Sarah's listening behind the scenes now. She'll be joining us in a couple of minutes, but she may well come out as a result of hearing how wonderful the food is on your retreat.
Yeah. We eat definitely all the root vegetables, and we also have one night when we cook all together with a local old lady from Belmont in our kitchen, and then we have a kitchen party with cooking, drinking wine from the Termos Quinta, and we have dance and music and everything. It's fantastic.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. I just want to ask you a little bit more about this springtime connection then, because like so many things, and perhaps as a result of neoliberal capitalistic economies where things don't get done if they don't make money. Tourism, spring itself, tourism, so many of these things have been turned into commodities.
Yeah.
Spring is not a commodity. Spring is a real phenomenon that human beings can connect with and feel that transition for themselves. It's not something you necessarily need to watch out your window or take photographs of. Spring is happening inside us as well, isn't it?
Yes. It is not only, there's the term spring cleaning. So you have your spring cleaning your house and you spring clean your body, but you also have to spring clean your mind.
Yes.
Yeah?
Well
so this is now the time to what do I continue? I always ask my clients, what do you want to continue? What is good? And what do you stop?
Yes.
What do we take with us? You know, we are going to rebirth, reborn, we grow and leave all this, you know, this ballast, bad vibes behind us.
And now is a good time to do that, you're suggesting. So leave the old wintry vibes behind and let the buds of spring, the darling
go
buds.
Outside, Go outside and walk, preferably with Walksperia. No?
Yes, well said. Well said. Now, so when is this happening? When is the retreat?
So I have two more rooms available. 16th to 19th of May. And this can be already booked on my website. And I wanted
to link to it on the site now, because I always love going to your website because of the lovely video on the homepage. But there is the link to go and book 2 more places. You say there are only two places.
Naturescape. There are, you know, I have the seaside scape, but I'm now talking about my naturescape, which is in Belmont, the green one. You know, the spring tour, the Primavera.
Yes, Primavera. There you go, and that's what we'll be doing if you go on this walk. Oh, look, having a little bit of a paddle in a brook as well. And these are the lesser visited schist villages, aren't they? Because there are the more obvious ones that people go to, but you have to go a bit further into the interior for these, don't you?
Yeah. And also, I mean, the schist villages are now a very good time to visit. During July and August, you have all the masses, the local tourists. Is spring real?
Yes, well, let's give Sarah a big round of applause and bring her onto the screen now, because I think she wants to talk to us about this. Are you staying for a little while longer,
Yes,
Marion?
I stay a bit. Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Here's Sarah Davie from SpartanFX. Good morning to you, Sarah. Tudo bem? Como estás?
Morning. Oh, this looks lovely. And what a coincidence. I come from Durham, the northeast of England, near Newcastle, but actually I live in Belmont.
No way.
Yes.
Spooky.
This is really funny. This is funny, Sarah. Oh my God.
Spooky vibes on the Good Morning Portugal show this morning. That's incredible. I thought you were going to say that Pedro Cabral discovered Northumbria, but no.
Well, maybe he came over and then.
Yes. Yeah. Look at this. but kept quiet about it as his best kept colonial secret, perhaps. That is wonderful. So there you go. I will put the link to your website up again before we leave this morning. Sarah, so how are you doing? How's the world of currency? Can you tell us? We've been talking about neoliberal capitalism. Of course, the movement of money is what you specialize in, which is quite a good link on the Good Morning Portugal show this morning. How are the markets looking?
Well, that's the thing. We're talking a lot. I mean, last week we're talking about interest rates, the data that's coming out, and whether the central banks will cut interest rates. There's been speculation that they'll do it. We thought they would do it sooner than they have, but actually it does make sense, because even if the data comes out and it's good, they want it consecutively, so to make sure that it is actually working before they make any drastic changes. So I think we're looking a little bit later in the year, but it is a question of who's going to do it first, whether you're specifically for American clients and say UK clients. I think what we'd seen historically through sort of after the pandemic was that the Fed were the first to increase interest rates rather aggressively, and then we've got the UK, and then sort of the Eurozone sort of follows that. So we may see a similar trend. Traditionally, when central bank cuts interest rates, that can weaken the currency. So that's the one thing that we're getting clients to just bear in mind, that people might be waiting, just want to see what's happening. But what happens if say, for example, you're an American and the US dollar weakens and suddenly it becomes more expensive to buy your euros? You could have bought them beforehand. Obviously, there's a crystal ball element to it. You know, there's still other things that might happen. But that's what we're really getting customers to think about, is don't leave it to the last minute, which is human nature. Is just think about it in advance, because you'll have more options and you've just got a little bit more control over your budget. What rate are you working on at the moment when you're calculating your move, and how much, more expensive or can it get before it becomes unaffordable? That's the sort of questions that you need to ask yourself, and that's what we can help navigate.
You've got strategies for dealing with all of that. Can you help people buy Chinese yuans? Do you do Chinese? How does that work? Can you
it's a little bit more difficult. We could with corporate clients, but with individuals, no. A lot of clients sometimes already have US dollars or other currencies, and yes, we can do that, but not the local currency.
Because you know Marion's in Shanghai as we speak. She is sat in Shanghai right now.
That is exciting.
It is incredible, isn't it? I think this is wonderful. Portugal, UK, and Shanghai all on the screen at the same time here. We had a little bit more feedback about what you were talking about. Thank you, Sarah, for being with us. And I'm going to ask Marion to give us if people do get really stressed out about the situation they're in with their currency or any other aspect of moving to Portugal, what's a quick exercise? It might be EFT, like we did last time, or it might be, it's not going to be an NFT, it might be a bit of Qigong. We'll ask Marion to share something with us before she goes. I loved visiting Vietnam and planning a trip with a small group of 20 to 25 visitors for February 25, Far East then, with Antonio, to marvel at the country and explore real estate opportunities in Vietnam. Well, I will share details. A nice one there, Antonio.
Yes, that would be interesting, you know, Antonio.
Okay.
I like to hear.
All
because
right.
Vietnam is a lovely place as well, also food-wise. Yeah, I love the Vietnamese noodles.
Heavens, yes, I will connect you two up if you wish. That discovery of Brazil happened on the way to India. That's amazing, isn't it? It's like popping out for some cigarettes or a bottle of wine and coming back with a goat. It can so easily happen here in Portugal. That discovery of Brazil happened on his way to India. It's like you land like, I'm sure it was different. It looked different last time. When leading a fleet intended to trade and fight there in India, my goodness. And Antonio, another story of life in Brazil. When in Brazil, I once asked a woman why she did not like the Portuguese or what was the name of the Portuguese person who broke her heart. Her answer was Pedro Alves Cabral. Oh, dear. Okay. Right. A couple of questions outstanding then. Is spring real? This is a massive philosophical teaser. I was asking if rainbows are real earlier on. Do we want to get into that sort of territory with you, Marion?
Say it again. The tree
is it? Well, what's real is spring. We were talking about spring and the effect of spring on people.
Spring is natural, and so spring always happens wherever. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you are not, you know, in Singapore where you have only rainy and non-rainy seasons.
Yes. On the equator.
So where we are, you know, Shanghai, UK, and Portugal, so we all have seasons, right? And I see more and more people are disconnected from the seasonal life.
There you go. So yes, I guess in terms of real and reality, has it become a thing, or is it something which you are actually connected to and engaged with? And that's what your work's all about, I think, isn't it, Mary? Is connecting people.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you could call it reality. You could call it real life, couldn't you? That you're connecting people with. Yeah. Okay. Right. So there is a guide to exchanging currency that SpartanFX provide, and we've got that for people. What we could also have in the guide, Sarah, is what to do if you get stressed out and have a little bit of a mindful moment. Marion, could you suggest some first aid? Because we'll probably be talking about first aid again with Aoife when she joins us. What have you got for us in terms of stress first aid? It's a stressful matter, moving country, changing your currency, getting your visa, buying a house, renting a house, all of these things. When people are feeling the worst of that, what would you suggest to them when they're getting a little bit giddy and stressed?
I mean, if you have, usually you are the one who is standing in their own way. Yeah, and then these voices are coming, these inner voices, you know, the saboteur A, and then they have the other one here. So you have to stop them somehow.
Yes. No, you're right. No, I'm laughing because it was a meme we've already shown this morning. It's this one. This is what James sent to us. There are a number of overlapping themes this morning, and I love it when that happens. If you're still looking for that one person to change your life, take a look in the mirror.
Exactly.
Now, it's true, but I mean, that may not come as a massive... Is that helpful when someone's stressed to say, well, it's all your fault?
No, it doesn't help.
Calm down.
What I have realized is also when you are a little bit, you know, when there are people who have many things in their mind at the same time, you know, and then the carousel starts, and then to bring down and focus again and become a little bit aware of your now and your presence. And then I always try the tapping, which we did with Sarah last time. But it's just a simple breathing. And I spoke to my master here in China again. And he said, you know, we breathe since 5,000 years within Qigong. You breathe in 4 times and you count to 4. You hold it for 2 moments and breathe out again through the nose. not with the mouth. That's yoga.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we talk about, so you close your eyes and then you breathe.
Should we do it? Should we give it a go now? Let's do
We
it.
can,
Could you-
we can do it together. What do you think?
All right.
Sarah, are you joining?
Are you up,
Yeah.
up for this? Right, okay. And anyone who's driving at the moment or operating heavy machinery, flying an aircraft, please do not do this. We don't want that sort of trouble on our hands.
Okay.
But if it's safe to do so, join us now, will you, in a breathing exercise led by founder of Walksperia, Marion Geray. Take it away, Marion.
We close our eyes. We breathe in 4 moments and hold the breath. And we breathe out through the nose. We breathe in. And you breathe out. One more time in. And we breathe out. You can do this for 10 minutes.
I could have
Carl
easily
and
done that
Sarah.
in 10 minutes. Yes.
Yeah,
How
so
about
it's,
you, Sarah?
of course, it's too
Oh, yeah.
short. But it, you know, it is everything about calming down.
It really
Your
is.
mind-
What a moment! What a moment that is. Your qigong master. Yeah, we've been doing this ever since we've been human beings. Why do you think, Marion, we don't do it so mindfully or purposefully? What is going on? Why with this gift that we've got of the breath and the breathing, do we get caught up in so many other blooming things?
Because we are distracted all the time.
Mm.
We are distracted and we have to plan all our future. You know, we have to plan the following meeting. We plan the tomorrow. We plan the partnership. We plan kids' education. What's the food for tonight? You know, so it's, but we are never just here and enjoy what we have and accept what we have, you know, and be thankful what we have in the moment. Now I'm so happy to be with Sarah and Carl in the show. And some people maybe have also fun to listen to us, but it's, and it's even more, you know, we have to stand like a tree, and it is springtime, it's primavera. And we I sent you a photo, Carl. Where is the photo? You know, when
Which
I hold
one?
the one with the tree.
Oh,
I sent you too many, maybe. I sent you, okay.
You did send me quite a few, to be fair.
Yes, I know. It was.
I find after every session, I mean, the session we did before, I've done a one-to-one, and now, you know, I don't realize, but we start the breathing on the tapping, and my shoulders just physically drop. I didn't realize that I start sort of more hunched, and then you just sort of.
And you just let it go. You know, you loosen, and your bum has to relax. You loosen everything, and you just breathe in through the nose 4 times. Hold it, breathe out through the nose, and then you hold your hands in front of your belly, and then you are like, it's like hugging a tree. That's why I always call it's the tree position.
I am relaxing my bum now, and I'm a little bit self-conscious because I'm relaxing my bum whilst introducing our next guest. I hope she doesn't mind. Let's give her a nice big round of applause. Let's bring Aoife onto the screen. Aoife, good morning to you.
Hi, Carl. Hang on, I can come here now. Oh,
you were joining us in a mindful
Good
moment.
morning.
I was being a tree with a relaxed bottom, and we'd got in some very conscious, mindful breathing. It's a beautiful moment for you to join us. And I think Marion may stay for a little bit longer. But Marion, obviously, you've got other things to do. Maybe go to see your qigong master. But I just
I go for dinner later. It's already 5:30.
Of course it is, and you're going to go for some more Sichuan goodies, maybe. Have you all met each other? Because I'm not sure we've had this full constellation of Chill Out Tuesday, have we?
No, we are the first time complete.
This is a beautiful moment on the show. This constellation, this lineup of stars on the screen this morning. So, Sarah from SpartanFX, I think you've been on with Marion, haven't you? But you've not met Aoife before, who lives in Alvaiazere, and I think that's probably the case with you, Marion, and Aoife as well. So, Aoife, perhaps you could introduce yourself to us and to the 2 ladies here. What it is you do. I'd love to talk to you this morning a little bit about your experience with the Bomberos and joining the Bomberos, but you do much more than that. Can you give us a little bit of a pen portrait?
Hi, good morning, ladies. It was lovely listening to you being in China, actually. I was there 15, 17 years ago, and the food is amazing. But yeah, so introduction to myself. I've been living in Alvaiazere for nearly 17 years. I'm a clinical massage therapist, but I've got a lot of modalities, reflexology, aromatherapy, and I'm currently doing functional nutrition and kinesiology. But so yeah, I'm just learning that there's a lot more to the body than just the muscles and bones and things like that. And yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about water and about food and how to keep your body in a good fit state, really functioning in a nice mobile way.
Perfect. We'd love to. I'd like to hear about that. Absolutely. And in the corporate world, Sarah, for example, I imagine you can identify or identify with the scenario we were talking about before. There's so many distractions, aren't there? When you're busy at work, you don't remember to breathe, or maybe don't remember to eat properly or hydrate. So it's perfect that you'll be sharing these things with us. And I thought to myself as well. While we were breathing through the nose, maybe it's something else we could say about Spartan is you don't have to pay through the nose when you're doing. How about that when you're doing currency exchange? So there you go. And I'll put an email.
You've said it before. I mean, you've called us a number of things, like what is it, currency counselors and things like that. But no, it's true. I think that it can get quite stressful because, as I said, people do leave it to the last minute, and we're just trying to make that element as stress-free as possible.
Yeah, thank you. And the email address for doing so is in the chat. So Aoife, please, yes, tell us more about what you were suggesting there.
Well, yeah, just listening to what you were saying, it's like with the body, it's about consistency, and it sounds like with the money, it's about planning, doesn't it? So it's about keeping everything going. Water, what I've found a lot, I was going to make a video about water and about how to drink it. Because what I've noticed with a lot of people, yeah, that's it. Little sips, Carl. Perfect.
It's not been planned. It's just there's so much serendipity and synchronicity. Carry on.
So yeah, what I find with people, obviously, you should drink 2 liters of water minimum a day, and that doesn't include tea and coffee or fizzy drinks. Yes, you can include herbal teas in that if you want to, as long as they're good quality herbal teas, and you're using good filtered water. But then obviously if you're using filtered water, you have to replenish it with salts and minerals, maybe put some vitamin C in it because everyone needs vitamin C. I use ascorbic acid, but filtered good quality water is really important. And people say to me, oh, I drink a pint in the morning, a pint at lunchtime, and a pint in the evening. That's it. I've done my quota. But if you imagine a plant that's dried, yeah, and the soil is really dry, and you whack in a whole watering can full of water. What happens is it just goes through.
Yes,
completely goes through. You absorb an amount, but it's going to be dry again by the evening. So you've got to water your body every day, a little bit, little sips, and if you haven't got enough water, what will happen? Obviously, I specialize in muscles and bones. Is that the organs will take it from the muscles and the bones, which is then when you get tight fascia, you get tension within the body because the organs are more important to keep you functioning. So, and that's when people get really stiff because they haven't got enough water in their body, made up of water. So that was going to be my top tip for today, is how you drink your water and the quality of your water. And I think that's a really good starting point for someone who wants to get on a kind of a healthy buzz, I suppose, and want to start helping themselves. That's the biggest thing they could do at the beginning.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you. And not just what to drink, but how to drink. It's very important, as you say there, because it comes back to the age we live in, doesn't it? And how mechanistic and rational it is. Tell someone to drink 2 liters of water, and they might just stand at a tap and drink 2 liters of water and say, "Done that," and that would be quite injurious potentially. It might be worse than not drinking 2 liters of water in some ways. Gary's saying, "Good morning to you, Gary. Good to have you here." Ask a man to drink 2 liters of water and he'll make a fuss. Ask him to drink 2 liters of beer a day and he will feel hard done by. Only 2 liters. We can take it. I think that beer doesn't count with that, with your intake. Well, what I wanted to ask you, if about this is a lot of because Marion was talking about old Chinese folks doing qigong in the park, and they look kind of flexible, and it's a lovely scene, I think, to see old people so flexible and working together in the park like that. And then over here in the West, it's like, oh, old age never comes alone, and every single thing that happens to somebody during a day, oh, that's old age. That is, I missed the bus. That's old age. It's raining. Oh, that's old age. And everything gets blamed on old age, doesn't it? And then there's what you're talking about. You can maintain flexibility by a little bit more mindful self-care. And is that a possibility why people are so creaky and dry? The simple fact that they're not watering themselves enough.
Exactly. And they're not moving. Motion is the lotion. That, like, totally is. It's like your nuts and bolts of your body. They will get stiff and rigid and rusty, if you don't use them. Yes. Where I work with a lot of people that are in, say, maybe their 70s, and they are fit because they do it every week. And I also meet a lot of people in Portugal who have come here and retired, and they don't do it, and they are stiff, and they have got problems. They have got pathologies. It's a bit like learning Portuguese, isn't it? You've got to learn it or not.
I wasn't sure whether to say that or not, but yes, that is absolutely right. If you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to work for you. So you do have to make the effort, don't you? And I think that's basically a little message there, a slightly uncomfortable message, possibly.
It is. I can be a little. I do say this to some of my clients. I can be a little bit tough, and I remember meeting a therapist when I did rehab course, probably about 8 years ago, and I thought she was a bit harsh because she said, "Well, I don't want them clients, a certain ilk of clients that would not listen to her home advice, because she's not a therapist that wants someone coming back constantly. Yes. I want to give you the tools for you to have a nice, comfortable life. Obviously, little things are going to come in, and you're going to need to come back for a treatment if you've been strimming all week or something like that, But that's essentially, you should be able to manage your body with the advice given by a clinical therapist. Like, I learned this as well, that I needed to put myself first before I could treat my clients.
I'll say more about that. What do you mean?
Well, so I do yoga twice a week. I've also entered perimenopause, and I've learned doing weights twice a week is really, really good for me. It's not everything for everyone. Now you have to figure out, which is what's in my book. You have to figure out what works for you. Like a very muscly person doing weights is probably not what they need. For me, I'm quite skinny, and doing 40 minutes of, it's not loads of weights. We're only talking 3 kilos. Yeah. But I'm doing it twice a week, 40 minutes a week. And then I do yoga twice a week, and I walk my dogs between 3 and 5 times. I share that with my husband, and try and do meditation once a week. And I try and do some breath work on a Sunday morning. There's a nice breath work thing. And if I can keep all them things going, which is busy, and I have to put them things first, and I go, no, sorry, my working day starts at 11. My working day doesn't start till 2, but I have to fit my yoga and my fitness in, and then have some food before I start my shift. So yes, my shift starts at 11. Between 11 and 8, I'm busy twice a week.
Very good. I love that. Yeah, I guess that you would be a little suspicious of any therapist who didn't do any work on themselves. Who just told other people what to do.
Yeah, but it sounds, Aoife, it sounds really, really very balanced what you are doing. Sounds very, very nice. Very good.
And you can drop off the wagon every now and then. Like, it's my daughter's 17th birthday on Thursday, and I'm going to do the yoga, but I'm not going to do the fitness because I'm not in the gym. But that's reality. I'll just walk the dogs a little bit more, but don't slip off it more than once a week, I'd say. Just every few months, just something big that if you might have to slip off. If you can keep it going, just keep it going.
Me and Sarah have gone quite quiet here, I noticed. Sorry to name and shame, Sarah, but you're very busy, aren't you? Of course.
Well, the thing is, I'm guilty of what you said about having the glass of water in the morning, maybe at lunch, maybe I'm the plant. But I did buy one of these, but I haven't yet to. It's like in the side of my head, so I'm making progress. But I'm not drinking from it. So
I thought for a minute I thought you become a miner, and that's a miner's lamp. It's a new career. That's actually for 2 liters of water, is it?
What is it?
Yeah, it's just yes, it is, and it has like times on it.
Oh, I see. It shows you have to have a little sip every now and then on your water. Very good.
Brilliant.
There you go.
That's really good. That's really good.
Well,
I have a
yet
liter
to actually drink from it, but I'm getting there.
Well done. Okay. No shaming here. We're just like guiding people gently, like a Tai Chi dance or a Qigong dance, towards perfect vitality. And of course, perfection's a good target, but you don't want to be beating yourself up about it. This is an interesting comment from Hugh. Vitamin D, 5,000 IUs or units, international units, I think that is daily. What would you say about vitamin D then? I imagine both you, Marion and Aoife, have got something to say on that. Aoife, go ahead first.
Yeah.
Well, I take it in liquid form, but I take a lot of things, Carl.
You have got a regime then of supplements as well.
Yeah, but I kind of douse over them now and know what I need when I need them. There's lots of different things.
Oh, hold on a minute. Okay, dowsing. I think we need to go into this for a moment. We'll come back to that. Marion, go ahead.
I don't take any vitamin D since I live in Portugal, and I get my blood tested every year, and I am fantastic. So everybody says, what a great vitamin D level you have. Where do you live? I says, in Portugal. And then the German doctor says, lucky you. You don't need any supplements. I don't take any supplements. I have everything in Portugal is there. What I need.
That's wonderful. Vitamin D levels. Yeah. And thanks for that, Hugh, mentioning that. Gary's been streaming for the past couple of days. He's mentally relaxed. He's been in his zone streaming, and the nuts are well oiled as well as a result, going back to what you were saying earlier on, Aoife. Dowsing then, the modern way, I guess, a blood test to check the levels of these various, to get the balance right physiologically. Dowsing, how does that work? What does that do, Aoife, to in this regard?
I have a tray of supplements. I take them out every morning, and I'd see what I need on a daily basis. It's not. I don't think I work quite a lot, and I don't have enough time to cook the food that I need to cook every day.
Which would be your primary source of nutrition.
Exactly. Even though I do live in Portugal and it's fabulous, and I have broccoli in the garden, I have garlics, I have lots and lots of things.
Yes.
But it's still not enough if you're in the school and you're going to work and to prepare a lot of food. Yeah. I would say I eat 80% good, 20% bad. So I supplement a little bit as well.
Okay. And the dowsing would be to literally to get a kinesiological sense, a physical sense, what your body and the pendulum are telling you need.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay.
Which I'm currently learning more of, so I don't want to talk about it too much.
No, fair enough. No, of course. JP's joined us as well in Porto. Is Walksperia in Portugal, Marion? Never mind, I've found it. And then look, this is the journey for JP this morning. Is it in? I can't find it. Is it in Portugal? Never mind, I found it. And then obrigado.
So currently Walksperia founder is in Shanghai, but of course the company is an LDA registered in Óbidos.
Very good. So you founded yourself and started up a company here in Portugal. That's a conversation for another time, and you definitely need stress relief for that side of things, for sure. Can I ask you then, Aoife, as well? This another part of being a great expat and enjoying life well here in Portugal is to get involved, do some volunteering. We hear people speak of this. And you did that with the Bombeiros, didn't you? Which I think is a fascinating and very demanding thing to do. Could you tell us the story of that?
Yeah, no, that was amazing. So I essentially did 4 years as a Bombeiros Voluntarios. The training was roughly around a year, but it was quite intense, as at the time my children were quite small. I had to go down Friday nights, some Thursday evenings, Sunday mornings, and then exams. And we went away and did desencartamento, which is when you're stabilizing car accidents, and you've got the ambulance and people cutting up the cars, and did that for 4 years. Obviously brought people up to Coimbra Hospital quite a lot. It was really nice thing for me to give to the community, which was my main thing. I always wanted to be a paramedic. I only stayed on the paramedic side. I didn't do any of the fire. I'm trained for the fire, but I was only ever going to be on the ambulance side of things.
And this is a really wonderful part of Portuguese life and culture, I think, and how things work here. So the bombeiros that you'll see and that people collect for, they're often a local association, aren't they? They, as you say, combine firefighting and paramedic activity. And I think they sometimes pick people up from home and take them to the hospital. I mean, this is an amazing service, isn't it? And you are a volunteer, are you, when you get involved in that?
Yeah. So you sign up. There's, I think, roughly numbers off my head is there's about 14 employed in my local bombeiros, and then there's 200 plus voluntaries, which means do 2 nights a month. You have to go and sleep down in the quartel, and you're on call from, I think it's 8 in the evening till 8 in the morning.
Wow, that's quite a commitment, isn't it? But what a brilliant way to get involved with your local community.
It was fantastic. And now, because I came out, once you leave, you can't go back in. So it was a really big decision for me to leave.
Right.
But now, like when the fires were on in Alvaiazere, I organized lots of people I can go down and help make sandwiches and help make things in the quartel. And I did a lot of publicity on Facebook for people to bring water and drinks, because the fires went on. It was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, the fires went on for quite a long time.
Yes.
And I remember going down there and thinking, okay, everyone's dropping into Anciao and so I did a bit of publicity, and I went down there 3 days later, and the back wall was full of drinks and waters, and and just making sure there's food for the bombeiros that are actually out fighting when they come in.
Oh, wonderful. So there is something everyone can do, isn't there?
Yes.
In terms of engaging with the bomberos. I mean, it might be helping in that way, making sure that the bomberos are looked after in an emergency, and you can get fully involved. It doesn't matter if you're a foreigner. If you've got the amount of Portuguese you need and the time on your hands, you can go and do that and get involved.
They're very open to help to integrating, because my Portuguese wasn't so good at the time. But at the time, you had to enter the bombeiros before you were 35, and I was 34 and a half.
Here you come. Brilliant. What a lovely story. So,
but now you can join up to 45, just if anyone's interested. So you can get in there a bit later now, which is nice.
And if you can't, go on, carry on.
Carl, I've sent you a picture of a certificate. Have you got it on WhatsApp?
I'm going to have a look now. Yes, I do have a picture. I have a certificate. Yes.
So
go ahead.
obviously,
while I download them.
Yeah, honestly, I'm really passionate about first aid, and I've had the honour of becoming friends with an A&E doctor who runs first aid courses, and I'm currently doing his admin for him. And we have 3 spaces left on the basic first aid course, and the advanced one's full on the 20th and 21st of April.
Good for you.
Yeah.
This
Are you coming?
Probably not. I do want to be on that course at some time, but I've just experienced the most insane level of activity at the moment, which I know is not a great excuse, but I would love to be there at some point on that, because I think it's an amazing course. This is when there's no doctor around, the serious first aid, rural first aid course, right?
That's the one, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what are we looking at here then? There's the handbook.
I was doing that for my booking if we had time, but don't go to
the certificate
first.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
There
First
you go.
aid resuscitation.
Because people were asking me if it's certified.
And there it is. There's the proof. What is AED then?
Oh, AED. It's resuscitation.
It's a form of resuscitation. Okay. I'm aware that we're running out of time here, and we may come back to your images there, because this might be your tip. But I would say we've got the springtime energies that you were talking about, Marion. We've got people moving to Portugal, and that's as beautiful as that idea and dream is, there are some of the stressful components that Sarah might want to address as part of that. And not only is it bonkers if you're moving to Portugal, and the springtime vibes as well. The world is pretty bonkers at the moment, I would say, as well, with so much going on. The energies of humanity are rather, let's just say stressed again, because there does seem to be quite an energy around us, doesn't there, at this time in human history. So in the last couple of minutes then, I wonder if each of you could have a last word this morning and just say, how would you address that? We'll start with you, Sarah. I mean, and feel free to chip in with some of the more holistic well-being stuff that you, from your personal experience, but clearly you speak to us from the currency exchange point of view primarily.
Well, actually, it's interesting. I think I mentioned to you before, I find it really useful, this session, and obviously speaking to Marion, because I'm in the process of applying for a visa and moving, hopefully, to Portugal. So what you were saying about all the sort of stuff in your head, that's my head right now.
Yes.
I had my visa appointment last Friday. Very stressful, just making sure you had all your paperwork, and that's only sort of one element of the whole thing, and moving, and there's just a lot to take in. So what has been nice is that I sort of now, even though the team and we speak to a lot of customers in your situation, and obviously we hear about the challenges, and we're the one element of helping moving the money, making it less stressful, helping with budgets, or making sure that we can get the money there as quickly as possible. It has been nice to sort of almost follow that journey and really experience it myself, and actually understand what people are going through.
Yeah.
And obviously I did move only a small amount to pay for my visa and insurance. But obviously I use SpartanFX. I could have done it myself on our online platform, but I rang Steve, who's my dealer. Steve, I need X amount of euros. He does it for me. I transferred the money to him, to SpartanFX, to my account. He'd set it up so that as soon as the money came in, it went straight out. I think basically I'd sent it in, it went out, it was all done within an hour, very quick. He was the one that rang the beneficiary and just checked the details were correct. Again, I could do all that myself, but when you've got so much other things going on, the ease of just picking up that phone and speaking to Steve or any of the team, I did it myself, and it was just super easy. And
if you have a SpartanFX account, at any moment when you're out at a bar, you can just say, "Excuse me, I need to speak to my dealer," and just ring them up and say, "Move that money now."
We have had, there was an incident, I think it was about a week or 2 weeks ago. Ben had a client who rang from the pub and was like, he said he'd had a few drinks. So Ben was like, "I can't actually do this because you told me you've had a few drinks. So
Call me in the morning.
Call me back when you're sober."
Quite right. Well, what lovely news, James. Very happy to hear that, as I'm sure many others are. And there you are, as you say, you're experiencing it firsthand, the process of moving to Portugal. So all the best. We're sorry with that, Sarah. That's wonderful news. And I love my SpartanFX family. So that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Sarah. And we'll make sure details are in the sleeve notes about how to start your own SpartanFX currency account. All the best with it. Sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Let's go to you, Aoife, with your tips for crazy times that we're living in. Is it a little stretch like this, perhaps?
No, let's not do that. Let's do that next time. Let's
All
not
right.
do that. So we've had the water.
Yes.
I would say that start nourishing yourself from the inside out.
Yes.
Grounding, I think, is really, really important to ground. Some of my friends are saying, "Oh, my head's a little bit, all the energies, my head's feeling a little bit overwhelmed," maybe might be the word, you know, a little bit over here and a bit over there.
Yes.
Get in your bare feet, go outside and stand in the ground or the soil, whatever feels comfortable, whatever you've got outside your back door, and try to do a little meditation if you can. Keep your feet on the ground, bare feet, and just sit down and meditate and see what happens. And just keep yourself grounded and nourished, and that should help you curb the next couple of months. Well, there is a lot of energetic activity going on, I suppose, is the word, isn't it?
Well said. Yeah. And I think it's in the language, isn't it? Keep your feet on the ground. I mean, you're literally doing that. That's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, turn off the Wi-Fi as well if you can a bit. Turn off the phone and the Wi-Fi.
Now you're going too far. Now you're going too far. There are people who, there's no way the Wi-Fi is going, "Oh, no. You're taking away my beer and now my Wi-Fi. How very dare you." Give it a try. Give it a try. See what happens. That's wonderful, Aoife. And you've got a lovely testimonial here. The thing I love about Aoife is her vibrancy and energy she has when you meet her. So you're walking the talk as well as grounding yourself and keeping your feet on the ground there. And as someone who was directly affected by the 2017 fires, I'd like to publicly thank Aoife and the Bombeiros for everything they do. Well said, Owen. And to you, Sarah, Linda and I wish you all the happiness and success living in Portugal there as well.
Thank you.
So finally, Marion, you've been with us for a whole hour and it's been great. And thank you for joining us from Shanghai and spending so much time with us this morning. What's your final thought from the East this morning?
From the East, I would say wherever you go in new countries, regions, you exploring in the future, take the best home with it from this area. It can be the food, it can be the lifestyle, it can be part of their philosophy, like I did with the Qigong. And you have certain things, I'm sure, in Vietnam, where our other audience is going there.
Yeah.
So just take and enrich your entire mindset and perspective so that you are growing. And this is primavera, it's time for growing.
Yeah, what a lovely point you make, because whilst I seem to have a bit of a preoccupation with this, how bonkers the world is at the moment, we shouldn't forget, should we, that the world is so abundant with all of the things you talk about as well. Us human beings are so wonderful as well. Some of us are behaving strangely at the moment, it has to be said, but still our potential is wonderful, isn't it? It's beautiful.
And it's also looking at the good things, and the positive things, and not only what is missing, or that's no salt here, and here's too much salt, and there's always something. It's not okay. And I wish the people in now just to focus and highlight the good things,
Absolutely.
And calm and stay positive.
Let's leave on that note then, in that case, the beautiful abundance and potential that we are as human beings. And thank you for demonstrating it so beautifully, all three of you this morning. And we're not going to have a raucous round of applause. We'll sprinkle Gumper dust on everybody as we leave, as we play the ending credits. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much. Can't wait till the next Tuesday. Cheers. Bye for now. Here's your Gumper dust.
Bye.